I don't need the mic on for the laptop, do I? No, like the volume, okay.
Oh, volume, no.
Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back, episode 14. Big beard. Live rapid fire golf. Hope everyone's doing well. Another Monday at 5. As per normal, we'll be good to go on Mondays at 5 now. No more changing that in the foreseeable future. So yeah, like normal, fire questions when ready, and I'll hit some probably warm up ones and grab a glove, and then we'll rock when you guys are ready. Rapid fire, best part of the week, yeah. Best part of the week. We just did our first new on-course little vlog session today that will come out at some point in the future. So I actually got to play a couple holes, 5 of them, recorded 3.5 of them, and so it's good to get back on the course here. Okay, Mr. Anthony, when pitching, do you prefer a roll release versus a body release? So I guess let's define what you mean when you say roll versus body. I'm assuming, do I want to have kind of arm rotation, or do I want more of a pivot? When you're doing your pitching and chipping motion, there's going to be more arm action than body. So it also depends on when you're pitching, like how far away from the hole. The closer I get, the more and more and more I want my hands involved. So if I were to grab a wedge and I'm hitting a normal shot, when I hit a normal shot, I'm looking for solid contact, distance, right? I'm looking for a pretty high ball speed and tight dispersion path. So with a full swing, I want to have a less dynamic loft. I want to have my shaft leaning forward. I want to hit down on the ball quite a bit. I want to have less dynamic loft so I can have the ball travel farther. With pitching or around greens, I don't need distance. So I don't need ball speed, which means I don't need the de-loft, which means I don't need the shaft forward as much, which means I don't need to rotate as much or have as much of that drive hold. I actually want my dynamic loft with my pitching to be much more constant. So if I were to set up with just a minimal amount of shaft lean, I want to more or less return that back. So let's say this is leaning forward just 5 degrees. I want to return that back just 5 degrees and let the club head pass, because I want to manage my dynamic loft, ball speed, and trajectory with a full swing. If I have a 56 degree wedge and I start with my hands inside a left thigh, at impact, I want to have what? My hands more forward. So less of a body release, more of a kind of hand action. And when I'm getting closer and closer to the green and softer shots, I go more and more hand action. Eric, how do you adjust the wedge system for shots from the rough? Well, it depends on your lie. If I have a lie where I think I'm going to have some more friction between the grass and the ball, then I would just lengthen. So to me, you kind of have a couple different options. You can lengthen the swing, or you can add speed. Meaning, let's say I have a 50-yard shot and our system is hip to hip. But now I'm in the rough and I have a shitty lie and I think it's going to play a little longer. So now instead of a 50-yard hip to hip, I'm going to go kind of a 60-yard feel, just above hip, and keep the speed the same. That's one option to get through the friction. The friction makes the ball speed lower, which means the ball is going to travel farther, which means you have to add swing length or speed. So the second option is, hey, I'm out of the rough. If I'm normally going hip high, mellow for 50, I'd go hip high, but a little bit more speed at the bottom. I do both. It really depends on the lie, where the grass is going, et cetera. But that's a good question. You can do either one. You have to play around with that and see what works best for you. I don't think you need to take more club there unless you're getting farther from the hole. Frank, what's up, buddy? With wedges, is there a distance you go where you go from using more bounce to more leading edge? Yes, that's a good question. I think at about 50 to 60 yards for me personally is where the bounce starts to come out of play. So when do you go from using bounce to leading edge? It has to do with how far you need to hit the shot. It has to do with swing length too. So like I'd say when you get above like half swing length is where the bounce doesn't matter as much. Like from 60 or 70 yards, I got to take a big enough swing where like my priority is getting the ball to travel farther, and then I just can't use the bounce. With the bounce, I can't get as much ball speed because I don't have as much shaft lean, right? With bounce, I want what? Face open, not a lot of shaft lean, which is not good for distance, but is good for having margin of error. Now, if I want to hit the ball farther, 60, 70, 80 yards, Now I'm going to use more leading edge because I want to get through the turf and get the ball traveling a little bit farther. So for me at 60 yards, I'd say once you get above kind of rib high, that should start to go away. So for me, 50 yards and out. How do I keep my left shoulder from opening in the downswing? If your left shoulder from the top opens too much, right? The goal is 90 or more at the top, still 45 degrees closed at left arm parallel. If you open too much, then you need to feel like it stays more closed, right? So at the top, let's say you're full, now make sure you're full 90 first, right? As you come down, let's say you get to 25 degrees or you open too much. Well, you need to feel like in transition then that your kind of chest stays back. As you go from the top, your kind of shoulders stay closed more in transition. Now you're still opening your hips, but your shoulders stay more closed as your hands get back inside right pec. So if you open too soon, you just need to feel like your shoulders stay closed more. How much, you got to record that and then adjust until your shoulders are 45 degrees closed as a stock at left arm parallel during the downswing. Let's see. Good evening. How do you yourself hit yardages between your wedges? Example, 85, 75, 65, etc. Do you make adjustments via backswing? You guys have good questions today. So what I do is I build a system in, as you know, where I have swing lengths on the 10s. So if my, let's say my 50s hip high, 60s rib, or I'm sorry, above hip, 70s rib, 80s chest. Let's say I have 75. So 70s rib, 80s chest. 75 for me is just in between the two. So if I feel for me, rib is 70 and chest is 80, 75 is between rib and chest. That's how I prefer to do it. I prefer, no matter how far I am, to keep the speed the same. Keep the same club, and all I'm adjusting is swing length, because I find the ball pops off the face the same every single time. My distance control is really good. When I start adding speed or taking speed down, my acceleration rate changes, which then changes how much. Also, too, when I'm adding speed, not only does that speed in and of itself change how fast the ball comes off the face, when I add speed during my downswing too, I generally speaking get the handle more forward, which also takes more loft off. So the ball trajectory and how far it flies becomes way less predictable. Meaning, your answer to your question could be, hey, if it's 75, keep rib at 70, but add speed. And you can do that. I wouldn't. I would just find an in between with my swing foot. You could also just grip down more. You could do the same thing, but take more club theoretically. But I think that's too much to do. That's a good question. Chris, how do you stop pulling the wedge when doing a full swing? If you're pulling a wedge, there's a couple different variables you have to keep in mind. Kind of net at the end of the day, your path is too far left, or if you're a right-handed golfer, too far left. That could be that you're aiming too far left. That could be your ball position's too far forward. I mean, there could be different things, but I would make sure for ball position, you keep that kind of off left eye, left ear. I would make sure my stance line is good. And then ultimately, if it's a path thing to the left, then you need to kick your swing direction more to the right. There's a lot of different ways to do that. I kind of have to see your swing for that. And speaking of see your swing, it's 8 minutes in and I haven't done any promos for anything. So two things. One, golf schools that are coming up, we'll redesign them a little bit. 2-day jobs instead of 3-day for some of them. We just released the schedule for the new ones on the most recent. Can you link? Can we link a thing? Mary, thank you, Mary. We'll link the link to the schedule for the golf schools. 2 days, Thursday, Friday in Bethlehem. Kind of all-day deals. So we'll link the details there. Would love to have you guys come and see those. We just launched it this morning. I think the first one got booked already, but there's another one in June. So 1 or 2 a month. That's that. Number two, for the next 50 minutes, I'm going to keep saying to a lot of you guys, I need to see your swing, because I genuinely do. I just raised up the prices on my online lessons, and I'm going to completely take them away soon. So what I want you guys to do is go to cogornogolf.com so that you can post your swing so that I can help you. So FYI on those two things. So when I say, hey, I need to see your swing, I do mean it in the best way to do that. And the only way to do that is through cogornogolf.com, our membership site. We'll put a link on there, or just the links in any of the descriptions of the videos. Okay. Let's come back to, where are we? Is it feasible? Nope. Okay. When chipping, where does the spin come from? Why is it a mystery for the amateur golfer? Spin comes mostly from friction between the club and the grooves in the club and the golf ball. And so the greater that level of friction is, the more spin. The less friction that's there, less spin. So what would create good friction would be good contact. Okay, so solidness of contact where you hit the ball in the face. Middle is good. Low spins even a little more than normal. High is less spin. The less grass you get between the ball and the club. If there's wetness in there, literally how clean your grooves are or not, the turf you're playing on, how clean is the golf ball, the conditions of the green, etc. And there's other variables with spin loft and spin rate on the ball and launch angle, stuff like that. But it's kind of really just how clean you hit the wedge is the simple part of that. I think most amateur golfers don't need to focus on spinning more. They just need to focus on having a consistent spin or the same spin when chipping. This idea that you're like Mickelson with these things that the people say message on trying to preach ball back, hands forward, clip and miss. That is brutal for a lot of you guys. The trajectories you're going to hit are going to be all over the lot. The spin rates are going to be all over the lot. It's hard to predict landing zones. Yeah, he's great at it, but that's not great for you guys. What you need is more consistency. You need the ball speed to be the same. You need the dynamic loft to be the same. So your launch angles and spin rates are consistent. So I would watch like any video that I have out with like using the bounce or chipping, and I would kind of talk through that more. Is it feasible to create a sufficient backspin to stop for a chip shot 20 yards? Is it feasible to create sufficient backspin for stop? Yeah, I would say from 20 yards, or the goal shouldn't be hop stop. Like keep in mind, the guys that are playing on TV, the conditions they play on, they have new wedges all the time, new ball, perfect golf course. They are the best in the world. That's unrealistic. If I'm going to play, like I just played 5 holes in my local muni with a wedge that I haven't cleaned in 6 months, okay, with turf I have out there, I'm not going to get the same spin rate. I don't need to. And we don't need that to play well. You need hop. So it's going to hit, hop, hop, check, and then a little bit of rollout. Just not anything ridiculous. So we shouldn't be going for hop, stop on a dime or spin back. That's unrealistic for most all of us. Just like we wouldn't watch Kershaw pitch and throw 95 or LeBron James dunk. Like that's not realistic for us. But from 20 yards, you can hit stop, like hit 1-2 hop stop. Went for a gapping session at Club Champion recently and was very happy with how tight my left to right dispersion was. Was all part of what you've been helping with me. Wanted to say thanks. Thanks, Nick. My pleasure, man. Hope you like Club Champion. We went down for a driver fitting maybe like a month and a half ago, and they fit me for a Mizuno driver, which has been awesome. They were super cool. We went to the one in Philly, which I think is in Conshohocken, Bala Kinwood. And they were awesome. If you guys anywhere in the Northeast, I would recommend them very highly. Peter, what's up, man? What's going on? Jose, what countering action do you advise? Counterfall, swivel, or shoulder tilt? Do you mean during the downswing? So Jose, just confirm you mean like in transition. What do I like? And then I'll answer that. Adam, shanking with a parallel pitch swing. Shanking with a parallel pitch. Any ideas? Adam, I'd have to see. That's one of those I have to see. Why are you shanking? It could be several things. You could be too close to the ball. You could have your weight too far back on your heels and then you're going towards your toes. You could be good, but then you're going towards your toes. You could be way too low and inside during your backswing. Your downswing could be too far inside out. I'd say those would be the top ones I'd look for. If I had to pass a test, I'd say the top 4 would be just you're too close to the ball, your weight's too far back on your heels at address, you come too far to your toes, or you're way underplaying going back or way underplaying coming through. So I would check those pieces, make sure you're far enough away, get the pressure good in your feet, don't go towards the ball, have your swing plane with your wedges. I'd be willing to bet you're too under on one side. So I'd get that thing much more on plane, even a little bit high and outside and a little bit kind of down and across. Really rip the handle and grip left past impact without seeing that again. Neil, what's the best way to guarantee a 60 to be hard? I guess because we did this wedge thing, there's a lot of like wedge distances. This is funny. Yeah, short game. Neil, what's the best way to guarantee a 60 be hard pitch shot isn't chunked? Like a tight lie? What's the best way to guarantee a 60 be hard pitch shot? Like a hard pitch shot, like off a hard lie maybe, isn't chunked. So like when you get really tight lies, like a mud lie or something like that, that's where leading edge is tough. And listen, guys, like sometimes there's gonna be a scenario where it's tough. Like I was talking to someone the other day about like bare lies in the bunker. Like what do you do when there's no like sand underneath the ball? It's just tough. Like what do you do with a 2-iron downhill, 40 degrees into the wind from 250? Like it's just tough. You're not doing a lot from there, right? So like sometimes, and I'm serious about that, like there's not always a good answer to like, here's a solution. Like this is a tough shot. Don't hit it there or just get it back in play. You know what I'm saying? So if you get a tough lie with your wedge, take more club, swing short, or hit a more punch on, get it back in play. There's things you can do from tight lies where you raise the handle. So if I got a really tight lie and I was close to the green, I would raise the handle up and more or less kind of take the heel off the ground and use all the toe and use some of that to be able to clip the ball off the turf. Or you can always just go ball back, hands forward, but then you have to be perfect with it. So There's not a lot of good solutions to some of that stuff. Do you rotate your hands through impact? If so, how? Yeah, there's going to be rotation through impact. It depends on your grip. So as a stock answer, the weaker your lead hand grip is, here, so the V more chin or left, the more supination and flexion you need or more rotation. If you've got a neutral grip, which is the V at your right collarbone, you need a normal amount of supination. You've got a strong grip, which is the V at your right shoulder or past it, you need less supination, it'll be more drive hold. So if you have a neutral grip, so V at my right collarbone, kind of a normal amount of rotation would be logo of the glove directly towards the camera at last parallel, logo of the glove back where it started, slightly right at impact, logo of the glove directly to the left past impact. So from here, it'd be logo of the glove directly away at last parallel, logo of the glove back where it started at impact, slightly to the right, logo of the glove slightly to the left. So past impact would be over here. So it's away from you here, back where it started, back there. And that's arm rotation and shoulder rotation. So there's both of those too. I don't know if you guys, some people like, I can have form rotation, which gets me from straight up to about here. My rotation from here to the ground then is shoulder rotation. So there's form rotation gets me to here, 90, and then shoulder rotation gets me to 180. So there's going to be form rotation and shoulder internal, external rotation there. So you do rotate your hands, everyone, yeah. If you have a stronger grip, less. If you have a weaker grip, then you have more. Steven, also affects your wrist conditions. Like, I think maybe that's not 100% clear either. Like if you have a weaker grip, you have to have more flex in your left wrist. The more you flex your left wrist, your wrists move in like 3 parts. So if I flex my left wrist, that also works along with ulnar deviation or unhinge and supination. Like those 3 movements go together. Flex, unhinge, and supinate go together. So the weaker your grip is, the more you have to what? Flex, unhinge, and supinate. If you got a stronger grip that's more an extension like this at the top, that goes along with the opposite, more hinge, radial deviation, and not as much supination. So you got to pair things together. I don't know if everyone quite understands that or not. Steve, I'm bending my left arm bad, and this causes me to snap hook all the time. I think it's because I'm not flexible and I'm trying to lengthen my swing. So one of the biggest reasons I find I grab my coffee and go to sip, and then I never actually sip on it. So this is just product placement for Wawa. If you're bending your left arm during your backswing, a lot of times people bend their arms too much during their backswing. Why? Because they don't turn enough. So if I only turn here 60 degrees and I want to make a full turn, I have to bend my arms to get to the top. Now, if I make a big turn, full turn with my shoulders and lower body, now what? Now I can lengthen this out. And it's really about the length of the trail arm. I want the right arm to be like 90-ish at the top, maybe a little bit wider. Some people get narrower. 90 at the top. For me to keep full 90 at the top, 90 degrees, and get to it with my left hand, I can't get there if I don't turn, right? Now, what if I turn more? Now I can reconnect with that. So it's a lot about how much you turn going back. Got to turn more to be able to do that. If you get a smart ball or tour striker ball between your arms, get one of those Martin Chuck balls, put it between your elbows, and that'll force you to get your stomach turning more during the back, will help with that. Ideal bounce for a 12 handicapper. Ideal bounce for a 12 handicapper who usually thins wedges. No ideal bounce. If you usually thin your wedges, that's probably a mechanical problem. Probably not a club problem. That's what I would tell you, but I'm biased because I don't think it's as relevant. So I don't think the bounce is your problem. I think mechanics probably for that. If I could see you hit a chip shot, I could literally tell you what that is in 2 seconds. So if you can't get that, please check out CogornoGolf.com and post your swing up so I can help you. Harvey, what's your view on maintaining right side tilt from P8 to finish? Would maintaining the bend be positive for the golf swing versus getting eyeliner parallel to the finish? So for those that don't know, P1 setup, P2 first parallel, P3 left arm parallel, P4 up top, P5 left arm parallel, P6 here, P7 impact, P8, P9 right arm, and then up to the top, P10. So when he's saying P8 to the top, saying, should I maintain my right side bend from here, right, into my follow through, and how much, where's your eye line at versus being up here versus this way? There's different things it does that it can do in terms of your rotations, how much I side bend and how long I go is going to affect, obviously my tilt is going to affect my hand path, can have an effect on arm rotation or not. I prefer you letting go of the tilt into the follow through. So I would prefer you to be pretty neutral, adding in right side bend, obviously through impact, right side bend, probably to about club parallel. And then I would rather you let that out instead of keep that in. But like people do it both ways. So I think there's pros and cons to either way. If you go like full Morad model, you'd have that right side bend all the way into the finish and have the eye line more on a tilt here instead of straight up down like this. But I've seen really good players do it both ways. I also don't know how good that is physically. Let's see. What's the best way to install a new swing change? Reps, slow motion, swings, drills. The best way to install a new swing change without doubt is through video and feedback. Number one, you should find a coach to identify priorities, probably me or someone else. Number two is pick the 1, 2, or 3 main priorities you're going to work on them until you get them no matter what. Number 3 is heavy feedback. Practice stations and drills are good, but you have to record it. You got to identify checkpoints. Hey, here's what I currently do. Here's how I'm going to fix it. Here's what I'm looking for in video to know that I'm actually fixing it. And then you need to exaggerate way more than you think until you hit those checkpoints. And that level of exaggeration and feel when you hit a checkpoint on video is by definition the right thing to do. And of course, you got to go slow and short in the beginning, like 20% speed until you can get that and then start to ramp up the speed there. Okay. Mary will put the link for the live view. What I use when I'm practicing, what I recommend is a live view where you can actually watch yourself live. You can use your phone behind you, go back, check it. That's cool too. I like live view. You can actually see yourself as you're swinging. Mirror Vision also has a cool app. If you have 2 Apple products, you can do that as well. We can actually see yourself as you're doing it, which is super dope. So Mary will link that in there. Tony, enjoy your teaching. However, I'm recovering from cervical laminectomy and fusion surgery this past Thursday. Have you instructed anyone that's had this procedure? What am I to expect? Yeah, Tony, hope you feel better. I have absolutely no idea what that is or what's involved with that. I have not worked with anyone that I know of for that, so I can offer you no help with that. I hope you feel good. I hope that that doesn't have any range of motion issues. And yeah, sorry, I don't know much about that. Peter, struggle with my squat. I can do it slowly and I understand the concept, but I struggle with the speed of the third move, as you call the GG move. Can you help, please? So the idea from the top is that there should be a lowering of everything, right? So the knees from the top here, reflex. The legs should get parallel by the time your lead arm is back parallel to the ground, would be part number 1. I would like both, this leg going external. George really likes both legs to go dual external and turn as much as you like. I don't know that I do that as much. I'd like to see the left leg going external as there's a little bit more of a pelvis shift. And I don't mind the right leg going internal a little bit earlier, as long as you don't add excessive tilt. So I'd say that's where he and I maybe differ a little bit on that. If I watch good players, I see a little bit more of a shift of the pelvis. I see the left leg work. I see the right quad leg going a little bit more internal than he would advise if you look at tour players. But whatever, there's both ways to do it. I get why he does that to exaggerate, so you don't do the opposite of it, right? But you're trying to go lower with that. You're trying to lower the belt line slightly. The head motion is going to go down, right? So if you watch good players, draw a line at the top it's set up. Most of them go down about 1/4 of an inch. Then they go down again until about left arm parallel. And then they maintain that height through impact to about P8, and then they rise back up. That's pretty normal, right? So draw a line on someone's head that you like on YouTube slow-mo from face on and check that. They all kind of do that same thing. So if you're not getting it, I'd have to see what you're doing and why you're not and what you're trying to do. It's not a flex down and just go here. You also, as you're flexing down, it's a turning, right? There's a little bit of a shift to the left. You're reflexing and turning, adding right side bend and opening everything up. So you're missing one of those pieces, but without seeing it, I can't really say for sure. Again, if you can't get that, check out Cogorno Golf and join our Facebook community, man. Post your slings up and I'll see what's going on with that and fix that. Best drill to stop coming over the top is our shallow station. So we just did another video on this today. I recommend this all the time. If you search my name and shallow your downswing or draw station, you'll see this in more detail. But it's the drill where you take the stick, you put it in and angle it down below you, where it's just, if you put the club in your toe line, it's just above that. So it'll look like this. And you got to swing underneath that. That drill will 110% work if you set it up correctly and exaggerate enough. You can also do the stick, if you search my name and draw station, where the stick's in front of you like this, and you got to get the club exiting more to the right, more at like a maybe 10 o'clock sort of number. So that would be the second thing that I would do for that. I literally don't think, like I've done that draw station, if you search my name and draw, and shallow station with like, I don't know, hundreds of people. Like no one ever, like everyone who does that gets shallow, everyone. Now it's not like this, you got to practice it. It feels incredibly awkward. They all say, oh my God, it's exaggerated. I say, yes, I know. I say, go slow. They go too fast. I say, go short. They go too long. It's like, it's the same things over and over. They have the same struggles you do. But when I stand there, all I do is just force them to keep doing the same thing. I make them go slower. I make them go shorter. And then they all shout their downswing. So like that drill will work universally if you work it. The problem is you might do a couple, and if you don't record your swing, you're like, oh my God, that feels so crazy inside out. Oh my God, I shanked that first one. This ain't right. That's not it. Put the video behind you. You're supposed to make it look how you want first. That's the deal. Okay, what's a good drill to prevent my left arm from coming across my chest? Let's take by making it hard to complete a full turn. What's a good drill to prevent my left arm from coming across my chest on the takeaway, making it hard to complete a full turn? Robert, I'm not with you on that. So maybe clarify. What. So left arm across the pec shouldn't. Left arm working across your chest shouldn't inhibit a good turn. So I'm not with you on that. Maybe ask that a different way, or I'm not missing what you're saying. Robbie, what's up, dude? Watching from UK. Welcome. Thanks for being here. After linking with Chris Ryan, thank you. We got another Chris Ryan video coming up, probably within the next like month or so. Chris Ryan, super cool, dude. Generally strike the ball okay, but when I play a pitching wedge 9-3 swing, I shank it. Yeah, a couple people have said that now. It's interesting. I don't know why. Should all pitches be more upright, steeper? In general, when you're doing your wedges, I would so the answer is no. Like if you're making a 9-3 swing, it should still hit the same checkpoints. So if I take my normal setup, I still want to get the club head even with my hands at first parallel, hands over my toe line. I still want to get the hands in line with the right pec, shoulders turn 90 to the back line, and the butt of the club just inside ball line. So like I would still hit those same checkpoints. And then if I'm doing a 3/4 swing, I'm going same thing, hands in line with or club in line with the hands in line right pec, shaft just inside ball line, shoulders at 90, and then I just go down from there. If I was going full swing, I'd hit the same checkpoint, just going up and deep and keep turning. So yeah, I'd have to see you doing it. Maybe you get closer to the ball on those subconsciously, and that's it. Maybe you wait and the feet change. I'd have to see you doing that, Robbie, I think, to be able to really answer that. But I don't think you should do anything different than from 9-3 to full. There's a lot of talk about curing early extension from top of swing to P6 or impact. How crucial is it to maintain tush line from impact to P8 or finish line? You should maintain tush line ideally until about P8. I mean, I would prefer if you were to look at good players, draw a line down the front of their head and their butt line, they're basically on it all the way, on it all the way, on it all the way until about here. And then some players maintain their right side bend to the earlier question, and then they maintain those tilts all the way. Some guys get to just past impact, and then you'll see them come off of it a little bit more because they extend up more. It really depends on the player. If you maintain tilt all the way into the follow through, more old school Morad, and have your eye line down, then you would stay on it forever. I would prefer you to stay on the line at impact, past impact to about club parallel, arms parallel, and then let you lose that and turn into extension into the follow through. Speed purposes behind that, angle of attack, swing direction, etc. So you can come off of it after that point. Yeah. Joey, what's your go-to drill to stop the hands pulling down from the top? Yeah, I don't know that I have like a ton of drills for that. You're pulling the hands down really obviously is a sequencing issue. If you're someone who watches George Gankus on there, you see he puts the stick across the arms or put a box or object on the arms to slow the hands down. That's cool. The baseline idea is going back to like, hey, listen, it's a race between how fast your arms work and your body rotation. And to get your body open, it's not really as much about actually getting your body open. It's slowing your arms and hands down from the top. That's kind of the theory behind it. So if my arms and hands don't move, I got a lot more time to open up my body versus if I pull down fast from the top, I don't have as much time. Some good players pull down and still hit it good. That's fine. Sometimes they get more narrow. So what I would say is just leaving your arms and hands back, right? Feeling like they stay up more. Getting your body, feeling like you're opening up sooner with your arms and hands back longer. Of course, you can do some of those stick drills and things like that. I don't find myself doing that as much with people. Like I don't see people with as much of a pull down problem, meaning like if from the top, if they pull down and get steep and I just teach them how to shallow it, then I see that being less of an issue. So I would say the same sort of drills as he does. He got some other cool stuff that works with that. Let's see where we're at here. Hang on, I went way down. I got a lot of questions on here. All right, Benedict, what would you change with a swing that is on plane, but the club face is too close at impact. Yeah, so you have options. You can keep the club on plane, keep your path or swing direction neutral, but make your club face less closed, or you can keep your club face more closed and kick your path to the right. I have zero preference either way. I need to know more about you and your swing to decide which one you want to do. What kind of ball flight pattern do you want? If you want to hit a draw, then keep the club face closed, but kick your path. If you want to hit it dead straight, keep the path neutral, but change the club face. Then determine why it's closed and how to change it. Grip, form, rotation, wrist conditions, etc. So I need to know a lot more about that. Rob, another golfer told me that I have too much backswing, that I reach too far. How far do you swing back hands position? I would say at the top, a good checkpoint would be getting the club head more or less kind of right in line with the hands at the top. So if I'm at the top from here with a neutral turn, my left arm's probably on about a 40 degree angle. If this is kind of a 90 degree, I'm not here and I'm not here. I'm probably on about a 40 to 45 angle with the club kind of straight down the line at the top. Would be kind of like a traditional position at the top. Yeah, I usually like bigger body turns, shorter arm swings versus the other way. Short body turn, long arm swing usually causes problems. Big body turn, keeping your arms more in front of you, keeping the width in the right arm is easier way to do it. Let's see. I also wouldn't guess on that, Rob. Like record your swing, look at it, compare it to other people. Are you actually long or not? If it is, maybe it's not long at all, right? Who knows if that guy even knows what he's talking about. Francisco, thanks very much. You're an excellent teacher. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Brock, who's your favorite golfer and why? Tiger Woods, man. No, I grew up when Tiger was completely dominating, so he was my guy. He was my guy growing up. Still is. Understand deep plane. Ball back tends to be more down, but encouraging pushes and hooks. I always hook a low punch, like from the trees. How do I hit a straighter punch? Swing direction needs to go more left in that scenario. The ball's more back and you're hitting a hook like that. The more the ball goes back, the more you hit down on it. The earlier you catch it in the arc, the more your swing direction is to the right. So to offset that, you would need to swing consciously more left past impact to negate that. JZM, please show again what is considered open and closed at the top of the backswing. Where should my club face be pointed? Didn't catch it on the other chat. So square, if you have a neutral grip, square would be you want your left wrist to be and forearm to be completely flat, and you want the leading edge of the club to be perfectly parallel to your forearm like that. Toe down, or more this way, where it's that toes hanging more straight down is not parallel to my forearm. That would be too open. And then if I go face more up towards the sky, that's closed relative to my forearm alignment. So if I have a neutral grip position, you want the leading edge of the club up here. It's weird looking at myself and trying to get that in line with the forearm, like that would be neutral. Yeah, that'd be neutral. Francis, greenside bunkers help. Any way to practice at home? I don't think so. Honestly, I think I got no good solution to that. I don't think you can practice at home. I would need to know more about what you're struggling with. If you want, I think we have literally like one bunker video. I think you're right. We have a 1 or 2 bunker series on our membership site. So the membership site is designed to have like guided learning. There's topics, there's kind of big courses, there's smaller courses, and it's all guided. So like everything you guys would ask about, the idea is they should be on there, or they're going on there where there's guided courses or everything. Obviously, that's going to take months and years to like build out. But I think we have maybe 1 or 2 bunker videos. Yeah. But yeah, Mary will put a link to a bunker lesson, but it depends on your setup positions. I mean, I'm not going to go through it all now in a rapid fire setting, but if you check the bunker video like that, I would really need to see what you're doing to find out why, but everything's fixable. I mean, there's a solution for all that. Yeah, there's a lot of bunker stuff on. There's a good bunker series on Cogorno, because I remember us shooting that. Yeah. Glenn, on the range, should practice by hitting with one club over and over, or should I switch clubs with every swing? If you watch, Glenn, the perfect practice, search my name and perfect practice routine, I would recommend setting your practice up in sort of quadrants. So the first part of your practice, I do warm up and wedges, distance control, kill 2 birds, 1 stone. The second part of your practice would be mechanics, where you go in heavy feedback video practice station, not worried about the ball pattern. I do that with just 1 club. And then I'd go into skill practice, where you'd be doing distance control or direction control, one of the 2, or trajectory, whatever. And that would be you'd be using multiple clubs, kind of pitching wedge through driver. And then you do course-like practice at the end, where you would do full routines like the course that you'd be switching clubs. So wedges, you're switching your wedges up. Then you're doing block practice, mechanics, 1 club, skill stuff with multiple clubs, course like with multiple clubs. Perfect practice routine explains that video. John, how often do you think one needs to replace their set of clubs or driver or wedge, as in do the faces wear out? No, I don't think very often. I probably had the same set of irons. I had the same set of Mizuno irons for like 6 years. I didn't have like money growing up to be able to keep buying clubs. I think I literally had the same irons, wedges, driver for like 6 or 7 years. And I went from when I first started really playing where I was shooting like 80, low 80s to be able to shoot like in the 60s pretty regularly with that same set of clubs. So it's way more skill than it is club. Club fitters might not say that same thing, but that's what I would say. I would say you have to replace your grips, but probably not as much clubs. John, 2-day golf school for high school players. I don't do any specific for high school players. If you are a high school player or you know a high school player, you could definitely come do the 2-day golf school. So I think the school would be for anyone.
Absolutely.
I really think it's going to be good.
Better when it's mixed up. Yeah.
I think it's going to be good for any level of play. I really do. I don't think it would matter much. But I don't have anything specific for high schools, if that's what you mean.
Not younger than high school.
Steve, I keep pushing my putts. What is a good putting drill or alignment fix check? I would search my name and putting, and you'll see there's like 3 or 4 different videos on there. And one of them is a gate drill where you put tees up on either side of your putter and you got to work it back and through, Vizio, putting mat, things like that. So search my name and putting, and you'll see a bunch of different videos that'll explain that question in more detail. David, what's up, Mr. David? I recognize your name from the comments. Regarding fixing a slice due to an old injury, it is almost impossible for me to keep my left wrist flat all the way through the backswing suggestions. Yeah, then you need to have a stronger grip. So if you guys are struggling with trying to keep your left wrist flat or right wrist bent back, number one, if you're trying to keep your left wrist flat or bowed and you're like, me, I can't do this, try your right hand bent back, and that'll do the same thing. So bend your right wrist back as much. And if I have my right wrist bent really far back, what's my left wrist got to be? Good. If my left wrist cups, my right wrist. So try your right hand first, see if that works. If not, and you can't do those, no problem. Then you need a stronger grip. So you need to make sure when you take your grip pattern that your left hand V is more towards your right shoulder, maybe even stronger, and your right hand's more under. So you have a preset cup. And then I can have a cup at my top. And what's up with that face? Remember what we said before? The face is supposed to be parallel to my forearm. So is that face square at the top? Yes, it is. But I have a cup left wrist. Well, why that matches up is because I have a strong grip. If I have a strong grip, I can go cup. I can even cup on the way down and have a face still tilted down, right? Now, if I have a weak grip over here, and I do the same thing at the top, what happened to the face? Now I got a cup, now the face is too far open, right? Now I can't get away with that. So you're okay with a cup, but then you must have a strong grip. Bruce, I've been using your rotational class for a few months. Played at Wine Cone in Westchester Country Club. I thought you said he shot 59. I was gonna say that's a beautiful testimonial. I'm 59, but I felt like I was swinging like a young man again. Thanks for your concise info. My pleasure, Bruce. Thank you. I hope that you enjoyed that class there. We spent a lot of effort in putting those together. Joey, any thought on the gravity grip by Envy Roll? Never used it. Nope, I don't know much about it. I'll have to look at that. Joey. I don't know anything about that. Holy how could you say the S word? Yeah, I'm gonna start dropping some swear words on the videos moving forward. So just FYI, like over 18 from here on out. With probably just the lessons. Yeah. Probably just the lessons I will swear. I swear. I'll try maybe not to do as much, but I don't know. I think it's probably gonna come out. Good practice. Steven, I have a steep backswing. What's a good drill to flatten my downswing? I would do the shallow stations. So when I mentioned earlier about putting the stick in behind you, if you search my name and draw station, or search my name and draw or shallow, the one where the alignment rod's tilted behind you, that one just plain works. So if someone's on here and they're like, and I want someone to comment, if you've tried that shallow thing that didn't work, say something on here and comment on here, and then I want to kind of grill you with how you did it, because I've never seen that not work in person. And I've been doing that for years. I've never seen that draw station not work ever to shallow your downswing. The only time it doesn't work is if you quit on it. Common theme in life. Albert, I tend to line my shoulders up to the left at address. It seems straight to me, but I end up pulling it. Any feels or drills to get my shoulders down? Yeah, this one's simple, man. You got to record yourself from down the line and keep closing your shoulders until it looks good. And then just take your opinion out of it. Use the video, look at it. When it looks square, that feel is correct. And then just pound that in there like that. The solution there is simple, not easy. You got to be willing to exaggerate and give yourself feedback. Don't guess. That's the only real solution there. Paul, I slice my driver every time I swing. How can I fix it? You need to fix your club face. That is an easy fix, but I would need to see what you're doing. We have a slice fix program that's like really good. It's the first one we ever did, and it's probably the best one we ever did. If you Google Eric Cogorno Golf slice fix, and Mary will put a link in. I think it's $47. There's actually there's still an ebook in that. It'll be $59. There's an ebook with it. You got to fix your club face first, learn how to hook it, and then fix your path. But it could be grip, could be wrist conditions form. That's easy peasy to fix if I could see what you were doing. But I would check out that slice fix. If not, or check out CogornoGolf.com. Post your swing up. I'll fix you, show you what to do quick. Neil Yard. Maybe I asked you to confirm something earlier on. Bob, hi Eric. Do you still plan to do a video about your driver Fanclub Jimmy? Yeah, we were just talking about that. The reality is we do so many videos on here, and it's just Mary and I. Mary does everything behind the scenes. So we're doing some collab videos. We're doing that. So it's just it takes time to be able to. Yeah, it would take time to do them all. But I think probably within this summer. How about that? We'll have that out. We'll have that out. Griffin, hey, you seem to have a prominent head release that really makes it look like it starts and keeps your swing on plane. That is correct. I know you talked about this in your videos. Yeah, I mean, kind of the baseline idea is during the downswing, the sooner that your eyes release and your neck releases, right? My neck connected to my spine. So the more that I can open this up, the easier it is for me to get my chest open, which makes it easier for me to turn my torso, which all else equal makes it easier to have upper body rotation, which for me prevents my swing direction from getting too far to the right. The more I open up my chest and eye line, the more my hand path kicks out, the more I can exit around my body and I can control my club face better. So Annika Sorensen, David Duval, Dustin Johnson, Eric Cogorno. Rackham, how do you fade irons? My natural shot is a draw, but when I try to open the irons, all I do is hit it higher to open the face a little bit. To hit a fade from a draw, you need two things. One, ultimately your face needs to be open to your path, what you're saying, but two is your path has to be more left. So without seeing you, there's a couple of different things. I would say, number one, ensure your path is left enough. Don't guess. Actually record it. If the ball's not curving right, you're simply not doing one of those two things. Your face isn't open enough and your path isn't far enough left. How far left should you go? Go as far left until you have the ball curving right. So really exaggerating either it being over the top or swinging really, really, really far left past impact. Make sure the ball position's forward enough in your stance as well when you do that. I prefer when I'm hitting a fade to normal kind of setup position, ball goes slightly forward. I open my feet line a little bit, but I keep my club face a smidge open to my feet line. And then I'm really working the handle and grip left past impact, making sure I have a lot of chest rotation on the way through.
Side note,
Yeah.
putting the link about Slice Fix, but I wanted to make the point that all of the classes are available to CogornoGolf.com members.
Yeah, so Mary's going to put the link on for Slice Fix. We have these master classes. We have Slice Fix, rotation, shallow your downswing. We just did senior golfer and early extension. So those will come out. Now, I want you guys to go on CogornoGolf.com. That's the community that we're trying to build where I feel like I can help everyone all in one place, not have as hectic. So all of these master classes we're putting out, if you're a member of CogornoGolf.com, you get them for free. So you can go do these if you want. It doesn't bother us. But they're going to be 47, 57, 60, whatever bucks there like that, which is tremendous value. I think they could be $150. But if you join CogornoGolf.com, you get access to all of those, and you can post your swing, and you're in our community. So I'm trying to make it a no-brainer for you guys. One-stop shop. When I get tired in a round, I start to shank my irons. Why? Absolutely no idea, George. No idea, my friend. TJ, can you go into some detail on the right hand in the grip? I feel like my right hand comes off the club due to my setup with the right thumb pointer finger. Can you go into some detail on the right hand on the grip? I feel like my right hand. Yeah, so the right hand, a couple things. Number one, I want to get the right hand V at my trail collarbone. That'd be number one. There's a pressure point between the left thumb and so here and here. Okay, so those two pieces should connect and then they stay together. So I wrap my thumb. Now it depends if you have a long thumb, a shorter thumb, but I'm trying to keep that pressure point against there. So when you make some swings, you can almost even take your hands off and keep that pressure point between your hands all the way back and through. If your hand's coming off, a lot of times people's hands come off because of a lack of turn during the backswing. Now again, I'd have to see what it looks like, but I see a lot of people who are like, hey dude, my grip feels weird, I can't do that. Well, if your grip is normal and I go back and I don't turn enough, I'm trying to get the club going longer, I have too much hinge rate. So the reality is that's not a black and white answer. I'd have to see what you're doing. There's multiple variables that could cause that. I don't know if I answered that or not. Joey, hi Eric. What causes arms, hands to drift away from the body and towards the ball on the downswing? So do with driver, hitting irons fine. What causes the arms and hands to drift away from the body towards the ball during the downswing, especially with driver? So it sounds like from the top, if what causes arms and hands to drift this way, out too far, hand path too far out, is usually dictated by chest and shoulder rotation. Meaning, if I turn my shoulders, my hands go where? In. If I turn my shoulders, my hands go in. But then also, if I turn my shoulders back, my hands go out. So from the top, if I open my shoulders too quick, if I'm good at the top and I open my shoulders too quick and my hands work out, so here's me 90, here's me only like 20, I'm supposed to be what? What are our checkpoints? 90 degrees or more at the top and still 45 closed in transition. So it sounds like your chest and shoulders are getting too open from the top. I always preach to get your upper body open and go right away from the top. But the reality is that what should happen is I go to the top, I'm 45 with my hips, 90 with my shoulders. At left arm parallel, I maintain that, okay? So here I'm at the top, hips are 45, shoulders are 90. So the difference between the two is what? 90 minus 45, 45 degrees. The differential between my shoulders and hips is 45. At left arm parallel, boom, back here. Where am I supposed to be? Square with my hips, 45 degrees with my shoulders. What's the difference between that? Mary? 45, okay? 45-degree difference, which means the separation between my shoulders and my hips at the top remain the same in transition, okay? Now, from transition, my chest and shoulders are gradually catching up. Where are we supposed to be at last parallel? Hips are now open, probably 10, 20, 30 degrees. Shoulders are now square. Okay, so if my shoulders are square, my hips are open 20, what happened? Now it's only a 20 differential, which means my chest and shoulders evened up. Where am I supposed to be at impact? Let's say 40 with the hips, 30 with the shoulders. So what happened? Now I'm only 10. That means I caught up more. Just meaning at the top, 45 and 90, they both go, and then my chest catches up. 45 and 90, they both go, then my chest catches up. So your chest and shoulders got to kind of stay back for a sec before they really start to fire open, or else your hand path kicks too far out. That was a long answer for that question. Paul, Eric, have hit the new Mizuno Hot Metal Pros. Mizuno's delivered 1.5 flatter than Titleist. I can make either work, but do you have an opinion on who is correct? I do not, Paul. I have no opinion. I would on all clubs. I would do a fitting, see what works best, and then roll from there. I'm also not a club guy, so yeah, I don't know. TB, hey, when I try to cover the ball, I feel I'm going to hit it fat. I do not have the best attack angle to hit the ball. What can I do? I feel like so when you try and cover the ball, I feel like you hit it fat. Usually 2 reasons why that would happen. If I cover it, meaning I go down with my chest this way, I have to do 2 things to make that work, which are 2 things that good players do. If I go down with my chest, I also have to go where? Forward with my chest. Watch my hands and arm and club. Here's me going down, straight down with my chest. Now, if all I do is rotate, I'm doing nothing with my arms and hands. I'm opening my chest. What happened? My hands got where? Way forward. Here's me going down, no rotation, fat. Here's me going down, and I'm adding rotation. My hands go way forward. Now, you're supposed to go cover it down and open, right? Down and rotate. So rotation's number 1. You have to turn if you go down. Number 2 is if you physically, standing there, get closer to the ground, your other lever, mainly your right arm and your right wrist, need to get shorter to make up that distance. If I get 3 inches closer to the ground, I need to shorten my right arm and right wrist 3 inches, right? Which means the club's here. Here's me bending my right arm. That club just got shorter. Here's me bending my right wrist. That club just got shorter. So now I'm here. Now I can go down and open up, and then I'm good. So it's rotation of the chest as you cover it, and it's your right arm, right wrist shortening. Joey, in the takeaway, does the club head need to intersect the hands at left arm parallel every time? Takeaway. Club head would intersect the hands at first parallel, yes. At left arm parallel, you want the hands in line with the pec, butt of the club just inside ball line. Yeah, anytime to make it 100, just rinse and repeat, buddy. Throw the camera behind you, see where it is, find out why it's not in your hands, exaggerate, rinse and repeat. I'd have to see what you're doing as like, why are you not in your hands every time? Are you low and inside? Are you up and outside? Is it too much forearm roll? Is it too much hinge, hand path, too much body turn? So I'd have to see that to say. Pookie, how does the right foot work in the swing? Any drills? How does the right foot work? So I take my normal setup position. My pressure in my feet is 50-50. When I go back, I'm keeping my body centered, but I'm shifting pressure into my right foot, let's say 70%. Middle of my foot towards my right heel. I'm then transferring some of that pressure back in towards my left heel, into the middle of my right foot. Then I'm banking off that, pushing into the follow through. In terms of this direction, it would be on the balls of the feet to start, slightly more back towards the heel, back to the middle of the foot, and then I'm banking as I work in this direction. How much your foot comes up or banks depends on the depth of your arms during the backswing and your downswing swing direction. Meaning, the deeper I go going back, and the easier I can shallow it, I can keep my right foot banking because I don't need to pick up, so my pelvis goes forward to shallow the club. If I get really high at the top, a lot of times I got to shallow the club, which means I got to add something to shallow. Left foot goes forward, knee goes in, pelvis forward, chest back, that shallows the club. Goes back to our baseline understanding of this. If I'm here and the club's on a given plane, if I stand up and do nothing else, it shallows the club. If I'm here on a given plane and I cover the ball more, it does what? It steepens the club. So any act of me going this way shallows the club, which includes my right foot. If I go towards my right toe, it shallows the club. A lot of people go towards their right toe because they're trying to shallow the club because they're too steep. So that's a little bit about how the right foot works. Can you explain why/how a club face and takeaway affects the downswing? Yeah, so I mean in stock, the more open your club face is going back, the more you need to close it on the way down. The more closed it is on the way back, the less you have to close it on the way down. If you don't have to close it on the way down, theoretically, there's less work to do. If your club face is in fact more closed, then it's easier to have the handle forward, which means better dynamic loft, better contact. If your club face is in fact closed on the way back and down, it induces an easier to add rotation to hold that face off, easier to shallow the downswing. I mean, you name it. Open club face is bad for everything. If your face is actually open on the way down, you have to add release at the bottom, too much dynamic loft, less face control. Now the question is, does the face being more square going back increase the odds of the face being more square coming down? The answer is yes, but it doesn't guarantee it. Ultimately, the face during the downswing is the primary objective, but having it more square going back is ideal. So like, do you have to do it? No, but it's the same way. Should you have a good grip? Can you have a shitty grip and have everything else good? Yeah, but let's not do that. Let's have a good grip, make it easier. You know what I mean? So like I would do that as a prerequisite no matter what. Mark, I have a foresight numbers. I have foresight numbers with driver, hitting up 4 to 6, path out to in 3 to 5. Best way to start changing my path. Yeah, I would do search my name in shallow or search my name in draw. We did the stick behind the ball on an angle, if you watch earlier, or search my name in shallow or draw station, works every time. That will always be my answer to that. Search my name and shallow, draw station. What camera app do you use to record your students? Seems a lot useful. I just use my iPhone, so just a camera on my iPhone. Harvey, one of the most, I'm not doing a good job of the rapid part of the rapid fire. Harvey, one of the most striking things of Tiger Current swing is his right foot roll in the downswing to finish. Seems really hard to do while promoting rotation, spinning for thoughts not. Yeah, so I just kind of answered a little bit of the right foot action there. So hopefully that answers that part of it. Yeah, ideally you want your right foot banking and rotating. Obviously you got to have a decent amount of flexibility to be able to do that. The longer your right foot's on the ground, like if you have tight hips, sometimes it's hard to get that rotation. It's easier as that foot comes up. So it's dependent on your flexibility and motion patterns, but ideally you'd have that right foot rolling, absolutely. Samuel, can you talk about the arms' relationship in space to each other from impact to follow through? My understanding is that the right arm for a righty should stay below the left, especially to fight a hook. So this depends on grip, club face conditions, as you work in swing direction, body rotation, tilt, etc. So as a stock, if I were taking my normal setup into my follow through, here would be my follow through about this position. Club head kind of back in just to the right of my hands. Obviously my right arm is lower than my left into about this position here to about here. And then as I were to work up to the top, that'll change. A lot of where my arms are have to do with my tilts. Here's me tilt. So here's me standing straight up and down. Here's me standing straight up and down. Now here's me adding right side bend. So did my right arm get lower than my left? Yes, but why? Only because I added right side bend. So the more I have side bend, the more the right arm will stay lower than the left the longest. The more I get out of that side bend, my right arm will stay higher than the left. So if you just go on here, go on YouTube and slow-mo any of your good players from face on, you'll see how their arm action works. It should be pretty clear there. Depends on other factors too, obviously. Swing direction, rotation, club face, grip, etc. Turner, can being shallow and deep in the backswing cause shanks? Yes, it can. David, Bubba. Oop. Whoa. Yeah, no, okay. I don't know if I'm going to get through all these. Let's see. All right, I'm going to rapid fire for the next 5 minutes. David, Bubba swings out of his shoes off the ground as well as long drives. How is that achieved along with the ball being struck? Talent, eye-hand coordination. Wouldn't recommend it, but wouldn't fix that either. If I'm too wide at P2, could that cause me to get stuck and flip during the downswing? You could. So if you're too wide at P2, meaning your hand's too far out in this direction, But I'd rather be more wide than narrow. It depends on what you do for the rest of the backswing and downswing. If I could see your swing, I could tell you what causes what. If you can't figure that out, CogornoGolf.com. Moxie, thanks. We'll check out the videos. Beautiful. John, angle of attack with driver is minus, so 3.5 down. What's the best thing you can do to improve at 250 carry? It depends on why you hit too far down, man. So, I mean, I would say set up position, make sure the ball's forward enough, make sure you have enough right side bend at address. At address, I don't want right side bend by kicking your hips forward. I want you to just have a little bit of a crunch. Big backswing turn. Make sure you have enough depth at the top. As you start working down, keep the head working back, which means you're adding some right side bend. As you're turning, hand path works up and to the left, kick your pelvis forward, chest up towards the sky. That would be, we'll do a video on that. I'm gonna actually write that down. But that would be kind of like driver angle attack in a little quick thing, ball position forward, side bend, big turn, big depth. Keep the head working back as you rotate. Hands work up and to the left. Pelvis kicks up and forward, chest up on the way through. Would be stock pieces to look for. Depends on what you're currently doing. Chris, your last 2 videos have been great. Thank you. Been working on those for the last year. Since I've done this, I hit behind the turf and take a little too much more grass. How can I fix this? Earlier on, I explained a little bit about when your chest goes down, you need 2 things to match with that. 1, open up your chest. 2, your right arm has to get shorter and your right wrist has to get shorter. So your arm length has to get shorter and you need more chest rotation. So I feel like your chest opens earlier and your right wrist is more bent back or right arm bent back. Record yourself, don't guess, and then adjust. Kelvin here speaks of moderate thoracic spine extension at P4. Yeah. Is that counterfall? I understand your cervicals would fall towards would fall targetwards at P4 and away from target. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jose, exactly. So if I'm going up like this, if I take my normal setup, what would be traditional would be you'd have a decent amount of rounding through the upper part of your thoracic here. As I'm starting to work back, I'm kind of normal. And then when I'm kicking from about left arm parallel to the top is when you see most players add that extension in the middle part of the thoracic here, and then even into the upper where they're going more back this way and their left side bend in here. And then they're extending at the top, but then they're losing that extension in transition. So from here, I'd be kind of rounded right this way. Here, I'm throwing into extension here. I'm throwing the thoracic in here. I have some of it as I'm transitioning forward, and then I'm losing that down as I'm reflexing out at the bottom. I'd say it would be like a stock model. Love Kelvin's stuff. I used to watch, read, and reread his stuff like every single day back in the day. Do you ever press your hands together at setup? No, I do not. Kevin, hi, I'm hitting my driver way too high. Would weighting the club, yeah, it might. It just depends on why you're hitting it too high. Are you hitting it too high in the face? Is you have too much dynamic loft? Probably one of those two. And then that could be a club thing. That could be a U thing, ball position, tee height, angle of attack, dynamic loft. I mean, there's multiple variables there that I'd have to see to say for sure. Hey, Eric, I'm a lefty. Yesterday in the range, I realized that when I was hitting, the ball was drifting, curving a lot to the left. So lefty to the left is a slice or fade. How do you suggest I get to be straighter? You need to fix your club face. How you do that depends on why it's too open. If I could see your swing, I could fix it in 2 seconds. So if you can't fix it, post it up, join CogornoGolf.com, post that up so I could do that. Depends on why your face is open. Could be grip, could be wrist conditions or form rotation are usually the big 3. Make sure your grip's strong enough. Make sure, watch the wrist condition ones. Get the club face tilted down during the backswing and during the downswing. You might have to add some arm supination. But to fix the curve to the left, you need to fix your club face, period, to find out why. Why can't we super chat you anymore? I don't think we ever did that. I don't think we ever did that. Peter, hi. Eric and Mary, hello. Bunker videos. Okay, what do you think about the Mike Malaska way of hitting the ball? I've seen some of his videos. I mean, I think the differential that people always bring up all the time is that I haven't watched his stuff in depth. I believe he likes the shaft to be a little bit more this way in front of you. I don't like that. I like doing what the good players do that I watch. And so if you slow-mo YouTube golfers from behind, you kind of see what they do. And then, I don't know, maybe they feel that. And then I don't know what they do. But for me, what good players do is they're here, they're backing on with the right pec, the shaft flattens, they have good rotation, they have good tilts. That's what I would coach. So, yeah. Mark, what's up, man? What's going on? Currently in San Diego. That's beautiful. Don't feel bad for you. Working on the drills we outlined during my last session. A feeling I'm using is squeezing my pecs to feel a external shoulder rotation. Yeah, 100% makes sense. As always, because you saw me in person, don't guess, and I give yourself feedback. All right, we have 1 more minute. I'm going to rapid fire through here. Can you talk a little bit about how to get away from a float load type backswing drills to get better club set at left arm parallel? Talk about how to get away from a float load type backswing. Any drills to get to a better club set of left arm parallel. So really the pieces you're talking about there would be how much how much flexion do I have, forward flexion or extension, and how much shoulder tilt. So I would watch, search my name in shoulder tilt or how to stay centered videos. I want the shoulders to tilt more or less at 90 to the back line. So that would be part one of staying more centered. When you're saying float loading, I'm assuming you're going this way and that way. That's what I'm assuming you're saying when you say float load. So if you want to stay more centered, left shoulder more down would be part one of that. And then the hinge rate. So if I want to get it set at left arm parallel in line with the pec, for me to get the butt of the club in line with just inside ball line, it depends on how much hinge you have and then how much arm rotation and shoulder rotation you do or don't have. So when you go back, you want to have a less shoulder and arm rotation and have a good amount of hinge to get the shaft set more vertical. So left shoulder down, left elbow down, hinge it more up vertical, kind of without seeing it. Had an inside takeaway all my golfing life for 20 years. How to get rid of something so ingrained. Watch the videos and the takeaway videos. We did like 10 videos on this topic. So all the drills are in there. Tee into the butt of the club, shaft down the leg, search my name and takeaway, record yourself, common theme, don't guess, exaggerate the opposite. Okay, one or two more and then that's gonna be all she wrote. This first time I didn't get through all the questions. 10 early release my driver. What's a good drill to fix this? Find out why you early release and fix that. Make sure your club face is square enough and you have enough rotation. Depends on why you're early releasing, it really does. Thank you for doing what you do. Shine your downswing, top secret backswing moves. My personal fit. Love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My pleasure, our pleasure. Okay. I think that's going to be all she wrote. There's someone here that I didn't get to. Good feel for proper rotation at least on the pelvis.
Funny Rob Campbell at the end.
Getting the chest. Hi, is there a good feel for proper rotation, having the lead side of the pelvis down during transition while getting the chest turned to the target? I would do just that. Go up like this. Left side of your hip goes down and around behind you. Left side of your hip goes down and around behind you. And then get your left shoulder going down and around and chest open. Depends on where you're coming from. You search my name and you'll see that kind of same thing explained a little bit there, if that's what you mean. A lot of times I don't think you guys need drills. You need a video, and then you need to record yourself, feel what you're feeling, and be like, oh my God, I'm not actually doing it enough. And then exaggerate a lot and go a lot slower and just rinse and repeat that. Baseball grip is fine. No problem with that. 45-degree sand wedge. I would just add so I like to go 60, 56, 52, and then like 47. So I would just kind of add maybe 4 to 5 degrees per set, and actually check your gaps would be ideal as well. Joey, why grip change? No clue. Would have to see your swing. Join the site, and I can help you. Order the flight scope. Awesome, dude. Yeah, love that. Yeah, I do think that will probably be good enough to track your distances with your wedges. Love it. Yeah. A lot of people want to marry seven in front of the camera. What putting drills, Robert? Head against the wall, baby. Head against the wall, normal setup. All right, guys, thank you very much for coming. We're going to be back again next Monday. I will rapid through those better so I get through all the questions the best that I can. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, 2-day golf schools, 2 of them in June, 2 of them in July, 2 of them in August. I think the first one got booked already. If you have interest, the link's in the comments or just send me an email. All the information and all the videos in the description. And cogornogolf.com. If I said to you, post your swing up, I do genuinely mean that. I can help you guys with that. At least go check it out. All of this stuff is on there. You can post your swing, join our community. And we'll see you again next week on Monday. All right, thanks, guys.